Well, welcome to the Botanical Medicine Study Course with me, your host and instructor, Stephanie Georgiev. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me, and a special thank you to long-term subscribers and a hearty welcome to all new subscribers. At the time of the posting of this video, we are well into the summer of 2024 in the Northern Hemisphere. And it has been a doozy so far, but I hope the longer days are allowing for some time for fun and outdoor activities. Our friends in the Southern Hemisphere are experiencing winter at this time. So for this week's Herb of the Week, we'll be exploring a plant that has many benefits and delights regardless of where one resides on the planet during this time of year. And that plant is mustard. Now, we often think of mustard as a condiment, especially during this time of outdoor barbecues and baseball games. Now, I'm a bona fide mustard person who eschews mayonnaise at every opportunity. I will spare my listeners as to the reason why, but thankfully, Greek yogurt does the trick in terms of salad dressings and things like potato or tuna salad. Now, I'm not a fan of ketchup either, and fit in well with the Chicago style hot dog tradition for sure. But the culinary delights of mustard are actually a window into the therapeutic benefits of this beautiful plant. Now, mustard has several species, meaning there's white mustard, brown mustard, and yellow mustard, and so on. But for our purposes, we will be exploring the plant with its Latin binomial of Synapsis alba. Now, Synapsis is an annual plant of the Brassiaceae family, which is also known as the cabbage family, which we know is a very healing plant family in general, both as a medicinal plant as well as nutritional food. Now, this mustard is sometimes also referred to as Brassica alba or Brassica hirta, and it's grown for its seeds and is used to make my personal favorite condiment, mustard. Now, synapsis is also used as a fodder crop or as a green manure, which basically means taking the plant material and using it like you would manure in terms of fertilizing crops. Now, synapsis is a widespread worldwide plant, although it probably originated in the Mediterranean region. In California, I can tell you it is ubiquitous. And one of the legends surrounding how it got there is that the Spanish missionaries spread mustard seeds as a symbol of what they were trying to do in terms of evangelism. They were also apparently, and again, these are just legends, they would spread mustard seed to mark the places where they had been. So just shows you they were everywhere in California. Now, Christ Jesus said in Matthew 17, verse 20, that faith is similar to a mustard seed. And well, the mustard plant got the memo because it's everywhere. And it's used in several different cultural paradigms in terms of medicine and is widely used as a spice and condiment in numerous cuisines. Synapsis alba, or white mustard, is an annual plant, and it grows to usually around 28 inches or 70 centimeters high with pinnate leaves, and it's most common in Europe, and it has this beautiful yellow flower that is really gorgeous when it's in fields because it's just pure yellow. And it's most commonly found in Europe, also North Africa and the Middle East and Central Asia. But it's been found as far north as Greenland, which apparently it would be yellow land if it was blossoming. And it has been naturalized throughout Great Britain and Ireland. Now, the medicinal properties of mustard seeds, and again, it's the seeds that are used, and also sometimes the oil, which is either a diffused oil or essential oil. Either there's two kinds of oils. And it has quite an affinity for the respiratory system. It also has an affinity for the cardiovascular system, but it's most known in terms of its digestive properties. So if you want to drink a bunch of mustard powder, it'll make you throw up. And that's what an emetic is. It causes people to vomit, which in certain cases you want to do, but you don't want to do it if it's a caustic chemical that's in there, because you don't want it to go back and forth in your beautiful esophagus. But if you've eaten some like spoiled food and you just need to get it out of you, mustard tea will help you with that. It also has a lot of anti-inflammatory constituents in it. It's got antioxidant properties, and rubefacient basically means that it causes redness if you rub it on the skin. And that is one of the cautions. You don't want to put too much or too strong of mustard on the skin because you will cause burns. It's very stimulating. It opens up the sinuses. And I can tell you, one of my favorite sinus decongestions is to go out for Chinese food and pile on the Chinese mustard. And I tell you, that stuff just empties out your sinuses quite well. And it's also an expectorant, which means it helps get things out of your lung. And it's used for things like arthritis, in terms of poultices, or internally, migraines, definitely for digestive issues. It's good for asthma, bronchitis, chest congestion. It's good for all kinds of things. Now, it's also used in traditional Chinese medicine. And it's called Bai Ji Zi, which is basically, if anytime you see the word zi in a Chinese term, that means seeds. And the Latin term for seeds is semen. So this is semen brassiaceae. That's the botanical term for the Chinese medicine. And it's considered pungent and hot, and pungent is also the word for spicy. And again, just think of that Chinese mustard for your egg rolls, and you'll see why it gets that name. It enters the lung and stomach meridians, and it does all kinds of things according to Chinese medicine. It moistens the lung, it expels phlegm, it moves qi, it warms the stomach and spleen. And stomach and spleen in Chinese medicine are the organs most involved with digestion. So it's really good, obviously, for digestion, but in Chinese medicine, they say it warms the stomach and spleen. It's obviously because it's hot, it will expel cold, reduce inflammation, and specifically inflammation that's caused by heat. Dissolves nodules, it will relieve pain and stop cough. So this is a really good herb for that. And even though it has this emetic quality, what some traditions, including traditional Chinese medicine, do is if somebody's just vomiting and vomiting and vomiting, and obviously they've gotten whatever's out, this will help stop vomiting, like cures like. So it's just good for all kinds of different things. Now, it's also used in Ayurveda, and there are all kinds of names. So my apologies to Hindi speakers. Sometimes I have a hard time finding the names of things and being able to get them into the Hindi Sanskrit term, but it's shapa. And this is actually from what we would call black mustard seeds, Brassica junica, and also they will use Synapsis alba. And it is also considered pungent and warming. In Ayurvedic medicine, they use a lot of mustard oil, and that's where you put mustard seeds into oil, let's say sesame oil, and you use it like in baths or as massage. It's not the essential oil of mustard. And the essential oil is basically distilled out, and that is very caustic. So don't rub essential oil of mustard on your body. Do a diffused oil, and it's actually quite lovely. And it balances kapha and vata. It increases pitta. So if you're a highly pitta person, maybe this isn't such a good idea for you. It's considered a digestive aid. It's also used to dispel parasites. They use a lot of mustard oil in Indian cooking and Ayurvedic nutritional therapy. So it's very good for aiding digestion and helping to dispel parasites. And they also use it for skin inflammation and itching. And there's all kinds of recipes for using mustard and mustard oil in Ayurvedic healing formulas. Now, the chemical constituents of mustard are pretty legion. And the two big ones you see in front of you, one is called sinigrin and the other one is myrosinase. And the myrosinase helps break down food in the stomach. And it's basically a family of enzymes. And for the plant, it's a defense against animals that like to eat plants because it's very bitter tasting. And I love that it's the myrocyrene is in the mustard oil balm. That's a specific chemical term, which was formerly known as glucosinate myrosinase complex. So mustard oil balm, I think, is a little more poetic. And the isocyanates, which is part of the sinigrin. And this is found in most of the Brassiaceae plants, such as Brussels sprouts, broccoli, but also in the seeds of mustard. And whenever they are crushed, the enzyme myrosinase degrades sinigrin to something called allyl isothiocyanate. And this is what is super healing, and this is what brings the pungent taste to mustard. Now, mustard seeds include things like monounsaturated fats, phosphorus, zinc, iron, magnesium, manganese, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K, beta carotene, folic acid, and flavonoids such as quercetin and camphorol. It also includes selenium, copper, phenols, and all of those other lovely chemicals that I just said, which is on the slide. And it also has tryptophan in it and some omega-3 fatty acids. So this is just a powerhouse of constituents that do all kinds of wonderful things to the body. But the big one is that it stimulates digestion, and it also stimulates, it's basically their enzymes that help break down the food. Now, how do you take mustard? You know, in the video prior to this, I would say Dr. Dean Adele would be making fun of people taking spoonfuls of, French's mustard to heal themselves. But there's really a science to all of this, and a lot of it we get from ancient traditions, particularly the Ayurvedic or traditional Chinese traditions in terms of techniques. But basically, you're not going to find mustard pills on the market or mustard tincture. You're going to find powdered mustard or mustard seed, And you'll also find things like mustard oil, which is pressed oil. They also have diffused oil and essential oils and powders. And what you can do is basically make a paste of the powder, and you can apply it to your body for various reasons. Let's say you have a nodule that needs to be dissolved, or there's some sort of pain. One of my personal favorites is to make a mustard plaster for the chest. One of my last years in naturopathic school, I just had the most unbelievably horrible bronchitises that just would not go away. And I was coughing so much for so long, I actually was, fracturing my ribs and tearing my intercostal muscles, which was really unpleasant. And nothing was working. And we were doing everything. If you ever go to health science school and you're sick, you are basically live, bait for burgeoning healthcare practitioners. And I was just trying everything and I couldn't get sick, or I couldn't get well. And I basically said to the student practitioner, look, if I've been sick forever, and if this doesn't go away soon, I'm going to need to go on an antibiotic because we're playing with fire here. So that's when they decided to have me do mustard plasters. And I'm telling you, one mustard plaster and that bronchitis went away. And I wish we had done that in the beginning so that I didn't have to suffer with torn muscles. But you can also take a bath. It's really a wonderful thing. And there's a wonderful product that's pretty much available all over the planet. It's called Dr. Singha's Mustard Bath. And this is a combination of very aromatic essential oils along with mustard powder and some things to kind of tone it down a little bit. And it's wonderful to take those baths for aches, pains, or if you've got a cold or you got a stuffy head that you just can't open up. You take a hot bath with this stuff and it's wonderful. You can also, soak your feet in a mustard bath. Let's say you don't have access to a whole, bathtub. You can do that as well. And I have a link in the program notes for recipes on how to make mustard plasters and also where to get this wonderful product. You can also, use the oil, which is usually available in Indian and Asian stores, and you can use that as a massage. So it's really, really wonderful. Now, there is one caution. If you eat too much mustard or apply too much, you might get some skin irritation. And it also, mustard seeds can sometimes interfere with normal functioning of the thyroid gland. So if you're taking any type of thyroid medication, you just don't overdo it. It's not don't do this. It's don't just, choke down cups full of mustard seeds. And you also need to know there's oxalates in mustard seeds, which can sometimes interfere with normal absorption of calcium in the body. So the caution there is if you're prone to kidney stones, this is probably not a good thing for you to go crazy on. Okay. So you also need to do little patch tests. Let's say you're going to take a bath or do a mustard plaster. This can be very irritating to some very sensitive skins. So just do little patch tests to make sure you don't break out in welts. And if you don't, and also know with the different plasters, you don't leave them on for long periods of time. With the mustard plaster on the chest, you usually leave it on for maybe 10, 15 minutes at a time. So just know that there are some cautions involved with mustard. Now, cooking with mustard is incredibly fabulous on all sorts of different levels. And I personally have a minimum of 4 different types of mustards in my refrigerator at any time. I like the good old fashioned, French's mustard, which is kind of a misnomer for that type of mustard. But anyways, the American mustard, which is very high in turmeric, and it's a little sweeter and more mellow. I also love Dijon mustard. I like the hot English and Chinese mustard and the German grainy mustards, all of those. And they're really yummy to add all sorts of things. And again, the mustard oil is really nice to cook with as well. And you'll find all kinds of recipes for the mustard oil, specifically on Ayurvedic websites as well as Indian cuisine websites. And there's just so many benefits of adding mustard to your diet. Mustard aids in digestion, it lowers cholesterol, it boosts metabolism, it's an anti-inflammatory, and it has so many different nutrients in it. And we gave you this huge long list of vitamins, practically everything in there except B. There's no B vitamins in this, but there's, antioxidants, et cetera, et cetera. And you'll notice in very high fatty cuisines, as I said before, there's always a mustard pair there. And it's basically so you can help digest your food. You get that wonderful German sausage, and it goes with mustard, French with the lovely cream sauces and cheeses, the Dijon mustards, and the Chinese mustards with all those fried foods. Now, the mustard greens are also delicious. And I used to live in Napa, California. And every winter they had something called the Mustard Festival, which was basically the mustard was planted in all the vineyards as like a cover crop for the winter and also to help fix nitrogen in the soil. And so they would have this mustard festival, and at the Culinary Institute of America West Coast campus, they would just put on this unbelievable gala, and they would have a meal that was cooked by the students there that was always surrounding mustards, mustard sauce, etc. But they always had a mustard green dish. And I like mustard greens, but I'm telling you, they're really bitter, very bitter, but they're super yummy. And the Brassica junca or Junkia probably originated in the Himalaya region. And all young mustards, it doesn't matter what kind of mustard it is, you can eat the greens. They're really delicious. But the Chinese mustard is probably the one that's most commonly found in Asian stores and also Indian stores. So really, really good. And mustard greens can help anybody suffering from asthma, stomach disorders, heart disease, and menopausal symptoms. So, just putting, to me, mustard is like a must-have in salad dressings. I don't buy salad dressings, I make my own. And you always want to put a little bit of Dijon or German mustard in there to help emulsify the vinegar and the oil. And mustard just makes everything taste more amazingly fabulous. I mean, if you're making tuna salad, potato salad, salad dressings, wonderful in stir fry, you can either use the seeds or put a little dollop of mustard in there. And it's very warming, and it really adds a lot. And the greens also are quite yummy. Now, if you would like to grow mustard in your garden, most of us don't have to like purposefully plant this stuff. It kind of is everywhere. But there's all kinds of cool weather annual mustards that you can grow for the greens. You can do there's just all kinds of mustards that you can put into your garden for the greens or to harvest the seeds. And I've included a link for a wonderful article on how to do this. You can grow them in pots, you can grow them in container gardens, or right in the soil. They really do quite well. So however you want to include this amazing, ubiquitous, delicious, and nutritious plant in your life, I highly recommend really exploring this, especially, for our friends in the Southern Hemisphere who might be getting a lot of chest colds because it's winter. I just think mustard is a wonderful gift. And like I said, it's my favorite condiment. And I've also experienced the healing benefits through mustard baths, as well as mustard oil massages, which are the specialty in Ayurvedic therapies, as well as mustard plasters. So this is Stephanie Georgia saying thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. There are a ton of links in the program notes for all kinds of stuff. So I definitely invite you to check those out. And until next time, be well.